Do you struggle to let go and trust your people at work? If you're that boss, you'll want to listen to today's episode. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Bad Boss Confessional, the podcast where we fess up to our cringiest leadership mistakes and share the personal growth journeys that follow. I'm your host, Beth Fahey, and I'm thrilled to have you here with us today. Each episode, we talk to leaders who've been there, those moments where they look back and think, oh my goodness, what was I doing? And we'll hear how they turned those moments into real growth. Today's guest is my good friend, Jonathan Reynolds. Jonathan is the CEO of Titus Talent. Jonathan and I have a bit of a history together. We've worked together. I've used his company to find people for my teams. And Titus Talent is a hiring and recruiting agency that is, it's nationwide, isn't it, Jonathan? Or is it international? Are you international?
Well, North America, we'll just say that.
Okay, for now. Jonathan, I'd love it if you could give us a little bit of your history as a boss.
Yeah, great. Cool. Thanks. First of all, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
I was intrigued. The title of your podcast, I'm like, oh gosh, Bad Boss Confessionals. I'm like, it'd be fun. I'm actually looking forward to listening to other people's confessionals. I thought it was a great title and very intriguing to have a space where people can actually share some of their stories, lessons learned, regrets, the pain, the shame, the embarrassment. I've got lots of those stories. So yeah, I was definitely intrigued. Yeah, I last 20, 25 years been in the people space. I go back to early days as a 15-year-old boy sitting at the end of my parents' bed, like teenagers do. It's probably way too late for my parents. They probably desperately wanted to sleep, but here I am wanting to have deep talks about life. And now I am the recipient on the other end of that, was seeing my kids do the same. And I was just let me go to sleep. But there I was at the end of my parents' bed saying, what am I supposed to do in life? I don't know. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this. Grumbling about everything, probably. The things that irritate me about my own kids, I was probably doing exactly the same thing. But I was desperately wanting to know, like, what am I supposed to do? I'm not necessarily an academic. I'm not necessarily this, not necessarily that. And they said one of the greatest things you can do in life is live in the service of others. If you can help other people, you'll find a lot of fulfillment and joy in that. And so there I was thinking, well, I just asked you what I was supposed to do, and you basically told me go and help other people. I'm like, what about me? And but here I am, decades on, realizing that that is what I'm doing. And I think it's one of the great privileges of, well, America, really. There's so much rich choice, and that British by birth, you can tell by my accent, but American by choice. So I came here at 18 for not the American dream. I came actually to come and work with a missions organization. Found myself slotting into this sort of people business of recruiting, and I discovered that actually, number one, that there's this multi-billion-dollar industry of legally selling people, and I was like, oh, this is fascinating. And then I discovered very quickly that it was the dirty underbelly of the recruiting space is very synonymous to the things that you picture with used car sales. I'm sure there are great used car salespeople out there, but that feeling that you get when people say used car sales is also in the recruiting space. And so here I am thinking, oh, I didn't realize I joined something that was really dirty. So then what is this dirty thing about this industry? The lack of integrity, the slimy sort of flinging resumes and see what sticks, fudging resumes. I saw that all around me, people prepping candidates to try and get them jobs so they can make commission checks. I'm like, ew, I don't want to be part of this. I could either leave or I could try and reform it. And so that's what got me into the entrepreneurial edge of launching something new. And so that's where Titus Talent was born, out of a concept of, can we do this different? Can we do this in a better way? And then I started attracting a lot of people to join me in this endeavor. And so that's how I got into people management and people leadership and bossing. Yeah, I have a knack for understanding people and seeing what drives and motivates them and trying to get teams working together and performing well. It's like a game to me. It's like, wow, this is fun. How do we win? The way I can win is if I can get everybody working together and winning together and rewarding them for it. And so Yeah, that's a very long answer to your quick question, right? But that's what got me into the people space. Yeah, I love it. And then figuring out most companies' problems are people problems. They've either got sales or financial problems, but really it comes down to people. And so I'm like, oh, that every single company out there has people problems, and I like solving problems. So we create a business model to fix that in all things talent.
Yeah. And having worked with you, you've done a great job for my clients. You found really qualified people that fit the core values of the companies that I work with. And I know that you work with lots of companies out there, not just companies running on EOS. But one of the things that I find so helpful to me as an EOS implementer is that you have a division that is focused on placing people in EOS companies.
Mm.
Can you say more about that?
Yeah, we've run our business on EOS for the last 11, 10, 12 years or something. And so it got to our implementer. We hired an implementer early days, and our implementer said, "Hey, you've got a great process for getting the right people in the right seats. Would you mind going and teaching some of my other clients I'm implementing EOS with? Can you help them with that?" And I've discovered that the process followed by all, and right person in the right seats, right people, right seats. I realized that there wasn't in the book Traction, there was nothing in there that here's the process that should be followed by all to get the right person in the right seats. And I'm like, oh, like a probably normal visionaries do, like, oh, I'll write the process then. And I'm not a process guy. I'm like a raging visionary who, quick start and no follow through. So writing a process was not my thing. But I had a great team of people around me that had helped develop the process to get the right people in the right seat. So we were able to put our process, we call it Hire for Performance, and
Mm.
which is basically any role that you're ever looking to have filled really has a performance objective for it. So what does success look like in this role, and how would we measure success? So we basically said we're hiring for performance. We're not hiring for culture. We're hiring for a job to get done. How the job gets done is really, really important. It's got to align. These people have to have the right character and value alignment, etc. They've got to be a great fit and a great addition to the team in helping us accomplish our mission. And so we just really just dug in on, okay, what does that look like? And we created a process. It's a 4-phase process called Hire For, little number 4 in the middle, for performance. So we basically wrote a book on that. The least original title in the world. It's called Right Seats, Right People. So, and it's not, because I'm dyslexic or anything like that. We didn't just switch them over. And it wasn't just to avoid copyright, but it was really to focus in on the seat component first before we start talking about people. So let's look at this seat. What does it actually look like so we don't get emotionally tied to people? What does success look like? But basically, we wrote a book on that, and it's our process. You can get it on Audible as well. If you want to hear my voice, it's my voice on Audible.
Oh,
So there you go.
ooh, nice.
Right seats, right people. But yeah, it's just basically a very simple process any leader can follow. And then we realized on the back side of all of that is just because you get somebody to join your organization, they show up on day one, like, woo, we hired this amazing person. You stand up in front of the company, like, we're so excited that Julie's joined us, and Julie's going to do all these amazing things. It's going to be great, great, great. We recognize that actually onboarding and integration into your organization is really, really important, and many people don't have a process for that. So that's in there as well. How do you onboard and integrate somebody really well? How do you ramp them up really well? How do you hold them
Yeah.
accountable really well using a lot of the EOSy toolbox items to actually to help with that? So yeah, it's been really great, and then all of the stuff that you've written and the content you created around Great Boss Workshop. I mean, it's so hand in glove for us, and we speak the same language, and it's just been
Yeah.
beautiful.
This is, people, right? People are the biggest challenge, I think, for a lot of leaders and managers, just working with other people, managing other humans. Human beings are complicated.
Yeah,
You're putting a process around that complexity and trying to simplify things for people bringing new people into the organization, which is really awesome. I'd love to hear a story from you about your past and maybe why this is such a passion of yours.
yeah.
Do you
Well,
have something to confess here,
oh
Jonathan?
yeah, yeah. I actually I wrote about this in the book because for me, I'm a big heart guy, and so I connect on a heart level with people, and I want to inspire people. I want to be around people who I can inspire, and I get excited by that, seeing people's eyes, light up, and they feel, yes, I found my work home, and all of that stuff is really, really exciting to me. But it's easy to become a little bit delusional. It's easy to become uh, well, ego can get in there when people start, you get excited about people. When they get excited, you're like, oh my gosh, I like that person. What do you like about them? I like that they like me. That's what I like. And so you're really clouded in the hiring process. And this is why hiring salespeople is really quite challenging, because they can really they sort of draw you in and get you excited, and you feel excited about them. It's the easiest people to sell to as salespeople, because they get so excited so fast. And that's what I do. I'm a sales guy. I sell ideas and dreams and concepts and visions and a better future. And so selling to me is really easy. Just get me excited and I'll sign up for it. And so here I am. I was hiring it was a salesperson, actually. And it was the last time I was allowed to hire anyone in my own company. I got fired from hiring people because I screwed up so big. But we have a scorecard for hiring, and it's a whole interview process, of course. It's all written down, and there's this scorecard, and we talk about the head, the heart, the briefcase. So the head are reflective of behaviors and cognitive ability. Does that align to the role that's needed? The heart is all about values, character, motivation, the kind of that stuff that we taught often by our upbringing, and there's these sort of convictions of how we make decisions, why we make decisions. And then the briefcase, I know no one carries around briefcases these days, but a briefcase is really what kind of skills and experience do they bring to the table to actually get the job done. So head, heart, briefcase. So I got my scorecard. I'm final interview with this chap, and I'm like, yeah, I can see that the heart piece is off, the values. I can see that there's some definite questions about character, but I think that I can see something beyond everybody else in the company. I know your scorecard rating is this, you rated them poor on these areas, but I think I've got this special ability as a visionary that I can see through this lump of coal, and I can see a diamond in there that none of you can see. And so even though this guy's rating's poor, I need you to trust me because I'm a visionary.
Yeah.
And I see something here. And the team were looking at me going, yeah, but you don't have to manage this person. You don't have to boss them. I was like,
Yeah.
I know you do. You have to. And I want you to do it really, really well. But I need you to believe and trust me that I can see something that you can't see. And they say, yeah, well, we don't see it. And I'm like, I know. But you're going to see it when you start managing this person that I don't have to manage. You do. So gave them zero autonomy in this hiring decision. I'm like, trust me, I see something that you can't see.
Yeah.
That I pushed upon the team, and specifically one of our senior leaders, you need to trust me and manage this person, even though you don't want to. I remember distinctly 30 days in, I was on a family vacation, and I get a call from one of my leaders, and she said, Jonathan, you made me hire this guy, and he's a lying toad. And I was like, so he's being dishonest about things. And she goes, I saw this before, and you said trust you, and it's not working out well. So I'm asking, could you fire him? And I'm really glad. I was like, oh, all right, you want me to do the dirty work, huh? But I'm like, well, you fired him, so you know to fire him. So I had to call him up when I was on vacation and say, hey, this is not working out. And he stole the laptop, never returned it.
Oof. Yeah. There's your core
Lesson
values
learned.
proof right there.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
The lesson I learned from that is a couple of things. Don't let my ego or flattery of somebody puff me up to the point where I'm blinded. Pride is blinding. Everyone has blind spots, but pride and ego get in the way. It can become very blinding, and you don't see clearly. So number one, you need to trust other people around you and actually have a process that you follow, and let it be objective. There was an objective process to follow, and I ignored it all, and I ignored the people around me as well that I trusted, and it really undermined their trust in me. They're like, wow, we trusted you, you forced something on us. And I'm glad they had the courage to say, you fix it now. And then, and by the way, we don't think you should be involved in hiring anymore in your own company. And here I was, I got a bit defensive. I said, hey, just so we're clear, I did hire all of you, So you can't say I'm all that bad, otherwise you'd be saying you were bad. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here my ego is still like, still, I can't handle it, can I? That I screwed up. It was on me. Um,
Oh.
but yeah, I think those are trusting people around you, trusting a process, and don't let your ego get in the way when it comes to hiring.
What you talked about, this phenomenon, not only have I lived it myself, but I see it all the time with my clients. And visionaries, especially really strong visionaries, or the kind of visionaries that I call the genius with 1,000 helpers. These are people that make all the decisions in the company because that's how it's always been. They've always done it that way. They bootstrap the company, they built the business, they have the relationships, and they're making a lot of decisions around process and people and things like that. And at some point, that just becomes untenable, right? And that person can't keep doing it anymore. They know that they need to stop doing everything and instead delegate it to other people that are better at it, that are more discerning, quite honestly, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's connected to this a bit. Is obviously you speak in language of visionaries and integrators. Obviously, that the EOS principle. We recently recruited and hired an integrator for a wildly successful visionary leader. She's phenomenal in like just big personality, like raging, got it all in her industry, phenomenal. Like stick her on TV, she's fantastic. Hired this integrator, and I said, okay, I'm sitting having dinner with her. She's so excited about this integrator coming to help her run the company. She knows every detail of her business because, just as you described, bootstrapped all the works. And I said, are you ready for this to be really successful? And she said, yeah, I am pumped. I'm so ready. I said, are you open to some advice? And she said, sure. And I said, I think for between day 1 and day 30, uh, we've given you a roadmap for integration and onboarding. And I said, and at day 30, no later, you need to go on a sabbatical and you need to disappear. And I said, 30 days minimum, ideally 90 days. I said, disappear and let this integrator run the company. Let them figure everything out. Otherwise, you're going to be meddling. You're going to be you're going to kill. They're going to want to quit. They're going to want to quit. You're phenomenal at what you do. Go and dream up the next stage and future of your business of where you want to go. Go and have some fun. Just take 30 to 90 days and just disappear. Don't check in. No emails, no phone calls, nothing. If they want to reach out to you, they can, but let everybody get acclimated to this new integrator to integrate everything. And she's like, I don't know if I could do that. And I'm like, that's why I'm saying you need to. Like, that is why you need to get out of the way. I was like, help them with everything you want to download, all of the stuff you want to download to them, 30 days max, and then disappear. And I just saw her yesterday. We were visiting Chicago for a conference, and I got to go and join her. So, how's it going? She's like, it's amazing. It was really, really difficult. And she's a few weeks in, and she goes, I'm just ecstatic. And then I got to chat with her integrator. He was like, oh, it was amazing. Those first few weeks, fantastic. And now I got this. I've run this, and it's been really good. So I think sometimes being self-aware enough to know that sometimes we're the problem,
Yes.
and that wonderful unique ability and gift that you have that other people love and follow also has another blind spot to it where it's kind of like, oh my gosh, they're doing it again. I often ask our senior leaders team, every now and again, I'll say, hey, just level with me, give me a blind spot check. What are people saying with an eye roll? Oh, it's just Jonathan, he's doing it again. That's just Jonathan. Jonathan's on his kicker right now. I go, fill in the blanks. What are people saying? You don't have to name any names. I just need a blind spot check. How am I coming across? How are people experiencing me? And what is that stuff that's really irritating about me? Because I want to be aware and stop doing that. Yeah, I think there's a really important things for big leaders to pause and have a quick blind spot check.
That's an amazing recount of how you demonstrate vulnerability in your organization. And this is one of the things that, as I'm working with teams and helping leaders develop over the course of implementing EOS, or maybe during a Great Boss workshop, you can see the inner struggle, right? Like, but I have to be strong. can't, show my weak spots. You can see like all of this old stuff, all this old narrative that they probably heard growing up, or they heard in locker rooms, or they heard who knows, right? And now, you know, we've got enough evidence. There's tons of studies. There's lots of thought leadership now on demonstrating this kind of vulnerability. And so congratulations to that visionary, because learning how to let go like that and so quickly. I mean, that's I guess the benefit of having a high quick start as a visionary. You can shift gears pretty quickly. So maybe that she used that to her advantage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
But
totally. I have so much respect for that, the vulnerability and self-awareness, and it is a humility to say, okay, I trust that they don't need me. Like, let's I trust that these people, because we want to be needed. We love that, like, only you can do this, only you can be our savior in this situation. We need your superpowers and your unique ability and your visionary sight. Like, we want that, like, because, and as we
right.
should, we're a part of the puzzle. But for people to say, oh, actually, we don't need you. We'll be fine without you. Like, well, what will I do then? Well, where will my identity be? Yeah, like, go and sort out your identity, and don't have it in just what you can produce. Get centered in a different place, so that you can actually show up as a wholehearted, not ego-driven person who's constantly wanting the affirmation, constantly wanting the. And I mean, these are things that I have to deal with. I got to deal with this stuff. And so we principally put in a sabbatical every year with my visionary and my integrator, and any of our business partners who are owning the business, that they take a month sabbatical. The point is so that you actually help raise the people up and trust other people to do the stuff that you are doing, and you don't become the bottleneck and linchpin for everything. But we actually create a culture where the business carries on without you, and I think it's a good ego check as well.
I think that's a really interesting idea. I've heard from other leaders that they've had the advice to don't take a 2 week vacation. Instead, take a 3 or 4 week vacation, because by taking a longer vacation, 2 weeks, people can just kind of patch
Totally.
things,
Yeah.
yeah, over that 2 week period of time, without you, right? And maybe they'll text you once or twice. But when you're gone 3 or 4 weeks, they really do have to figure it out on their own.
Right. Yeah. I remember my integrator said, when I was taking it was a month-long sabbatical. He said, "Oh, we're going to make loads of decisions without you." And I said, "You better, you better. Don't don't hold back on decision making for me to return." And I think I was really saying it because I knew when his sabbatical came up, I'm definitely going to make decisions without. We're going to push a whole bunch of things through. But yeah, I don't want me going away to just cause a whole bunch of more decision making work when I return. I want you to make decisions, and I trust you to. Actually, recently I was at a quarterly offsite with our leadership team. It was a 2 day, and so I guess it would be an annual. But I was going through some personal sort of traumatic stuff, with some personal family stuff, and I was there for the first day, and I showed up in the morning, and I just had a phone call with some stuff, and I was like, I got to go and deal with this family thing. I got to walk away from not being here for this quarterly. We had a dinner the night before. It was one day, so we had a dinner the night before together, and then we all showed up. And I walked into the meeting 10 minutes late. I asked my integrator, hey, cover me for a bit. I'll be there in a second. I walked in. I downloaded some vision stuff. I said, hey, here's where we're going. I keep this lens on. We're a people first organization. So every decision you make, let's consider what's best for our people, and to really honor the fact that we got 150 or so team members around the country. Like, we are caring for their career as well. We want them to be highly engaged and cared for. Make decisions with them in mind, and everything other than that, I just trust you. You'll figure out what the big issues are and what are the rocks for the next quarter, and you'll do great. I trust you. And I'm leaving now. And I was like, they're like, where are you going? I'm like, I gotta go. I might even just go to bed. I'm exhausted. I've gone through some pretty traumatic stuff in the last few months, and I said, I'm dealing with some stuff right now. I said, I trust you all. I'm headed out. And there wasn't anything in me that was second guessing that. There wasn't anything in me that was worried that they would make wrong decisions. I mean, if they got the values right and the right lens, they'll make great decisions. Oh, and I said, and if you make bad decisions or wrong decisions, you'll fix it and clean it up anyway. So it's great. I trust you all.
Did you ever struggle with that? Like, I'm just curious because I'll bet there's a lot of people listening like, wow, I mean, I wish I could do that. I don't think I can though. So was there a period of time where you kind of hung on for a bit or?
For any of you parents listening, that stage when you get to this point, I can't remember what age. Now, if I say the age, people are like, "Oh my gosh, you did that!" But it's kind of like when your kid's like, "Can I ride my bike? Can I go? Can I go to the end of the street? Can I go all the way to the corner?" Like, yeah, you can go all the way to the corner. Like, okay, without mum or dad. Yeah, on your own, you can ride your bike all the way to the corner, and it's kind of like you watch them and then they're looking back. I'm like, am I being trusted? I'm like, yeah, I totally trust you. Go to the corner. And I'm going to go over here. Like, I just trust you. I won't even watch you. And you're kind of peering through the bushes. You are watching because you want to make sure they're safe and things like that. And they don't fall off their bike or whatever. You're giving them that sense of independence, but you're also watching and observing. And then it's that next one, like, and now can I go around the entire block? Like, yeah, you can go around the entire block. And as a parent, you're like, is it okay? Do I trust that they'll be okay to go around the entire block on their own at that certain age? And you kind of like want to chase them, keep watching. So it's this sense of independence. There's this sense of autonomy, and you kind of, we used to call it parenting inside the funnel. Like, you can't, 2-year-old, you shouldn't have the remote control yet. That's not, you don't get to have that. We're not trusting you with the remote control. It's too big of a responsibility for you. And so you boss or lead in a funnel of responsibility, saying, okay, what is a good amount of decision to give you the stretch that you need and the amount of freedom that you need to make decisions without checking in? I trust you. And so allowing people that stretch, I think that is really important. People, everyone in your organization needs some level of autonomy and stretch, which allows a bit of risk. And if you don't give people that, they're not going to grow. And if you don't give people any autonomy, it becomes very, very boring, and you're going to end up with not an entrepreneurial company. And if you run on EOS, you should be an entrepreneurial organization that runs through, that people are thinking of new things, better things, ways to serve better, that they're bringing suggestions, they're bringing ideas. And the word entrepreneur is a French word. And one of the definitions, it means to carry the weight of responsibility on your shoulders. It's not just like, I come up with great ideas. No, it's actually that you carry weight of responsibility. So allowing people that stretch of going, what if we did this? I'm like, great, go for it. Why don't you do that and carry the weight of responsibility on your shoulders and see if it works? But giving the people a level of autonomy and stretch, I think that's one of the ways that you keep people engaged in an organization is challenge, and in giving them an opportunity to have some autonomy and take some risks and failures. I mean, failure. I remember we had somebody in our organization, she was just not growing, and in my mind I was thinking, what is it? Why are you not growing? Why are you not stretching? And she goes, well, I just don't want to screw up. And I was like, screw up? I was like, how could you? What are you doing that you could screw up? I don't really see anything on your plate that you could actually really mess up that big. And I realized I'm not helping this person grow because there isn't anything that they can actually screw up. So I said, I tell you what, here's what I want you to do. I want, in the next 45 days, I want you to really screw up. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, I want you to risk something. I want you to try lots of risky things so that you can actually say, I screwed up on something. It didn't work. And she's like, what kind of thing? I'm like, I don't know. Like, take a risk on something that it costs us something. And she's like, I don't understand. I was like, well, because that lesson will be so amazingly valuable that you won't do that one again. But in the choosing of, taking a chance on something, you might succeed. But I want you to screw up. I was like, because I think you'll probably win 10 times and screw up one. And those other 10 times are going to be so great for us as an organization to keep us stretching, keep us entrepreneurial. And that one thing that you feel like you screwed up on, I'm going to celebrate it. It's going to be great. I was like, but you got 45 days or I'm going to fire you. And she said, you what? And I was like, yeah, I'll fire you in 45 days if you haven't screwed up. Now, she knew I wouldn't really fire her, but she got the point. I really want you to screw up. we lost a client over something, and somebody came out, I'm really sorry, I did this thing, I made this choice and it backfired and we lost this client over it. And I was like, fantastic. And they were like, what? And I was like, well, you're never going to make that mistake again, are you? You know, but hopefully you keep taking chances. I really want you to keep taking chances. And even if you make mistakes or it doesn't work out well, that's how we learn. That's how we grow. We're an entrepreneurial company, so keep doing it. And I think that creating an environment like that is very rewarding for leaders, and it's also way more engaging for other people, because they feel trusted. I mean, I say it every single week, I trust you. I had an email yesterday. Hey, what do you want me to do with this client? I know that you know them really well. I'm like, and they're like a celebrity person. And I'm like, yeah, I do want you to serve them really, really well. How do you want me to handle this situation? I said, however you see best to handle it. And I trust you. And I'm like, because I don't want to manage it and suddenly go, oh, that's my relationship. That's, and suddenly people feel stifled and they actually not going to grow from it. I'm like, no, you go for it. So it's good to practice that as a leader. I think giving people chance to screw up and then not chastising them when they do, actually celebrate it.
Yeah, that's a great story. I love that. And I wish more people would take those risks. I mean, but not everybody's wired that way. Some people are wired for risk, others are definitely not wired for risk. So I'm just curious, when you place, and it's mostly C-suite type people in your organization, right? Like executives. I don't want to misspeak. So am I getting that right?
You know us for that, so it's very accurate. In the last 5 years, we've recruited, and recruiting is a part of what we do. It's about 80%. So we would describe us as a talent strategy organization, whether it be attracting, hiring, engaging, and developing team members. So we have another whole side of our business that's not recruiting, getting teams to work well together, and helping increase engagement and performance. So that's one part. We call it talent optimization. And then the recruiting side of the house, we've recruited and placed over 6,000 people in the last 5 years. And those are not just executives. We have an executive search team. We have a team that's just integrator hiring. And so that's all they live and breathe is integrator hiring for companies running on EOS. And then we have an executive team, which is all senior exec roles in the finance, marketing, sales, operations, second in commands, etc. And then we have somebody said, you're kind of like shop floor to top floor. And I'm like, yes, we do, because we have a whole team that just does high volume, more sort of blue collar individual producer roles around the country. So we're doing a lot. Yeah.
That's very helpful for me to understand that, and also our audience, of course. What the question I was going to ask around that is, do you do any coaching for the people that are using you, your clients, so that they can get better at letting go? Is that part of the hiring process?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the best way to do that is be really, really clear on why you're hiring somebody. As soon as you start interacting with people, it becomes emotional, because you recognize they're real humans. You said at the beginning, humans are messy, they have highs and lows, all of the same things that you go through in life, so do your employees. And so we forget that. So when you go through moving house, death in the family, changing jobs, all of those top three stressors, they're the same for all humans. So, and we all go through them. Everybody in your company has gone through some type of, or they will go through some type of pain, grief, and loss, and it hurts. So that's their personal story, but it shows up at work. And it might not show up verbally because they don't feel safe to tell you those things, but it's still going on in them. It shows up how they perform. It shows up how they are attentive. It shows up how they interact with one another. When you're snippy with your spouse, they have that same feeling going on at home. They have those same dynamics going on. We just remember people are messy, but they're as messy as you are. That's what I like to remember. As messy as I am, as complex as I am, every one of our team members have the same stuff. So when we come to hiring, okay, it is to get a job done. So let's be really, really clear on what the job is. We're going to pay you 100% of the compensation we agree on in exchange for 100% performance. What does that look like? So we have a belief, and we teach this: 100% comp should equal 100% performance. It should be it should need to be as objective and quantifiable both. Every 2 weeks, we're going to pay you. And every 2 weeks, we want to know what you did. We want to make sure you perform. So really, really clear on that. Okay, so that just, first of all, takes a lot of the emotion out. Okay. When somebody is not performing, it's always good to ask the question, why are they not performing? Because you hired them to get a job done. Just remember that. They didn't hire themselves. You made this decision and you stood in front of the company and said, I did a great job of hiring. Usually people don't say, we're not too sure if this is a good hire. Like usually we go, oh no, we're really confident. It's going to be a great person. All right. So you did that. You hired them. And so when did they go bad? You need to take some part of the responsibility of that. Did I make them bad or did they lie? Which could be that they lied. They said they could do something they couldn't do. I get that. But you also hired them. Still, we have to remember that. So then to go, okay, what are they not doing that we hired them to do? And be really clear with them and say, okay, hey, you're not doing this. Is there a reason why you're not doing it? Is there a reason that you're being prevented from doing it? Is there something going on with you personally that we should know about that would impede your ability to get this job done? So that's where we come in. So, okay, as a human going, hey, what's going on? And if they offer that information, say, actually, I do have some stuff going on and it is affecting how I show up at work, I'm like, okay, then you need to decide, in fairness, what is your tolerance for how long you're going to allow that grace period to be? And it needs to be fair across the board. You can't choose favoritism and all that kind of stuff. But like, here's how we're going to navigate this. And I think that's important. And if there is nothing going on, no, nothing. Okay. Do you know what's expected of you? Have I given you the right tools to get this job done? Have I given you all the resources? And if I have, there's not too much I can do for you. And so EOS talks about, what is it? How many strikes?
3.
3 strikes. Okay. It's great. It's really, really clear. And so here are the 3 strikes. Here are the expectations. Here's what we're going to do. And if people know that, I think it's easy. It's way. And if there's absolute clarity, nobody should be surprised that they get fired. Like that should be really, really
Exactly.
clear. And I love it. You know, I've heard people in our organization, I think we should part ways with this person. And I'm like, okay, would they be surprised? If they'd be surprised, we're not doing that. You know, you've not had the honest conversation. I talked to another leader in our company recently, and I said, okay, I said, so are you telling me that you've been explicit as explicit if I called them up right now and said, I know you've had long and multiple conversations about this issue with your manager? And they say, well, I don't know if they would be that. I'm like, then you haven't had the conversation. You have not had the courage to be really clear. And so, do you need me to go and do it for you, or are you going to do it properly? And I said, if you need me to do it for you, maybe you're the wrong person to be managing somebody.
Yeah. I mean, that's quite a realization. I think that people are so afraid to have these tough conversations. Well, what if they walk out? Then I'm going to have to do all their work. That I think that's one of the first thoughts that people have. And then, well, how am I going to look to this person if I'm saying these things to them? And they just get really in their head about it. And it's honestly so simple. It's just tell them. You have to tell them. And it's really kindness by being clear like that, as Brene Brown says, right? Clear is kind, unclear is unkind. And there's so much energy. There's so much that people do to avoid having those conversations when if they just had the conversation, you could get on the same page and get back into whatever groove that you had. But the longer you wait, the longer you delay having those tough conversations, the farther apart you get, and it becomes almost impossible to pull back.
I think that the clarity piece is where I see for myself as a leader. It's easy to say something. I'll use a kid story. So I've got 3 teenagers at home. If I say, hey, to my son, hey, I need you to get your room clean. So what do I actually mean by that? Am I meaning tidy? Am I meaning clean? I want you to clean your room with polish and clean your mirrors and all that kind of stuff. Is that what I want? Do I want you to clean the windows? Am I wanting you to shove everything under the bed? Do I mean I want the closet, your closet all like neatly put and everything hung? What do I actually mean? Because if I just say tidy, I understand that could mean a lot of things to different people, and it certainly means something different to me than it does to my son. And so Then did you tidy your room? Yes, Dad, I tidy my room. And then I go and see the room I walk past a little bit later in the day, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, this is not tidy. Like, why is all that stuff shoved under the bed? And then I just show my disapproval because I don't, and I'm irritated. So I'm like, well, did he lie to me? Because he told me he did it. Or did he have a different interpretation or a different standard than I had? So now I'm going to be passive aggressive because I'm not healthy as a parent. It's in my own house, and I'm like, well, and then I am irritated, and I project that disapproval on him. He doesn't know what he's done wrong. He just thinks his dad's crazy. Like, why is my dad psycho right now? And he feels this disapproval, but he doesn't know what's upsetting to me. And he thinks he did what he was asked to do. So if I actually have an expectation and a standard, the clarity that you're talking about, as Brene says, to be clear is kind. So what do I mean by that? If I actually have a standard of excellence that I would like to be done to that level, I better explain it and express it clearly to him. Hey, I need you to tidy your room. I don't want anything under the bed. I don't shove things in. I put everything in its right place. That's what I mean. And I'll come afterwards, and I'll be really clear with you. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna inspect what I expect, and I'm gonna say, hey, I know that you have a different standard. It's totally fine, but I actually do have a standard here, and I'd like you to hang things properly, your clothes, not shove them in the closet. I want them all hung or put on shelves. Is that cool? No, Dad, I don't want to do that. It's my closet. Okay, fair point. You're pushing back. Well, here's why I want you to do it. I want you to learn to be a good steward and a good manager of what's been given to you. So we bought all those clothes for you. I want you to look after them well. And if you don't need them anymore, we can give them away to charity. Okay? Is that fair? Put them in a box if you don't want them, but don't put them on the floor or don't shove them. Now I've been really, really clear. I don't have to be passive aggressive and grumpy and all that kind of stuff. I just need to be very factual. Hey, remember we agreed on this? I said this. You didn't do it. I need you to go and do it right now. Thank you. Thanks, Dad. Like, it's clear. And I think it's the same for any leader in a work situation. If you're constantly being disappointed because people don't deliver what you were trying to get them to deliver, maybe it's on you. Maybe you weren't clear. Maybe you didn't actually set the standard and expectation. And if you want to give people all that freedom I was talking about and autonomy, don't be passive aggressive when they don't do it to your level or your standard. If you gave them this freedom, allow them to do it there. If you don't trust them or you don't want to do it, then be really clear. So I think it's that you can't have it both ways. Oh, I give them all this freedom and I trust everybody. And when they don't do it to your standard, you passive aggressively treat them like, oh, they're just not very good. Let's fire them. That's not fair. So this stuff comes back to look in the mirror as a leader all the time. Did I communicate clearly? Did I set expectations clearly? And I think for many times we think we did, but if you break it down, it's just different definition of the word that you used. Tidy is to one person is very different to another.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talk about this in the Great Boss workshops. It's about communication. The thing with communication is that you feel like you're being absolutely clear. And I said to my sister all the time at the bakery, I'd say, I couldn't have been more clear. I could not have been more clear. I was explicit. But was I? And when I play it back and like, oh, I probably wasn't as clear as I could have been there. And yeah, it starts with looking in the mirror, and it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
They're a complicated human. You're a complicated human. And how we interpret what each other are doing, we're bringing all the stuff, our cultural stuff, our family stuff, you name it. We're bringing all of that stuff with us to work every day and to any type of interaction that we're having with people. They're bringing all their stuff too, as you said earlier, right? You cannot separate your work persona from your true person persona. It's one and the same.
I remember you talked about this in Boss Workshop when I sat in your session. It's you were talking about, I think you were talking about tone and how each sentence, how you can say it. And I was thinking, this is one I see come up in our company because we're a 100% mobile company. So our team member in 25 different states or something. We come together once a year in person. We use loads of video and on Zoom and all that kind of stuff. But the amount of times I go, so, hey, what's going on with this situation? Have we communicated that clearly? And a leader will say, yes, I've sent an email. It's all in an email. And I'm like, right. I'm really sorry to tell you this. I don't remember the email, and I don't know if I even read the email. And I know that you had 27 paragraphs in that email, and you were very, very, very explicit, probably. And you described everything. You just, I know it's annoying to you that you cared and spent hours on the email. I don't think people read it with the same level of appreciation that you expected they would. And it's kind of like, okay, so it's like public speaking. You got a room full of 500 people, and everybody hears differently. They all, that's why you have all these personality assessments and like, oh, here's mine. I'm a whatever. I'm a 2-2-10-5 on Colby. I'm an Enneagram 7, a wing 8. I'm a this. I'm an ENTP. Okay, all of these to understand, recognize and understand that everybody has different ways of processing information, how they interpret information, how they feel about it, whether they don't feel at all. Like, it's so that we can understand everyone's different. And so when you're speaking to a whole group of people, you gotta, man, I gotta speak to all of these different personality profiles. It's like really, really difficult. But it's a recognition of when you say things, people hear it in different ways, or they don't process it the way you think they would. So I think it's recognizing that when the people that we bring into our organization are all different, and they have different wirings, different leanings, different culture interpretations. I was in a session yesterday. Someone was talking about the importance of a real strong handshake, and somebody in the room said, "Well, I didn't grow up in this culture, and if you came in and did that, it would actually be interpreted as threatening." And I was
Mm.
just listening to this whole thing. I'm like, wow, this is so. I love the dynamics of people. I just think, to me, like I said at the beginning, it's kind of like a game. It's so fascinating, but just pausing to recognize, not everyone's like you. Not
Yeah.
everyone's like you. They don't feel the same way you do. I always talk about the significance of what we do because that's what drives me. I want my life to matter. Like, there are plenty of people in our organization who don't give a flip about how significant it is what we're doing. They just want to make sure that they're safe and secure and they can provide for their family. And I'm like, no, no, let's go change the world. And they're like, I'm like, oh, right, you actually don't want to care about changing the world. I do. So I should probably actually talk about the importance of how safe and secure and stable we are as a company. I've never once thought about it a day in my life. So
That's self-awareness. I mean, that's so good because I think people really, one place that they could level up is just really understanding that people are wired differently, people process things differently. Jackie and I had our quarterly conversation yesterday, and I had to tell her about you'll laugh as another visionary, but if it's not right in my inbox, it doesn't exist. Like all those pretty folders that you have on the left-hand side, they're bursting with emails. I don't know about it because all I'm looking at is the emails that are right in front of me. And, you know, so I just said, I just think we process differently. And here's what I need. If you can help me when these types of emails come in, star them, whatever, but I need to see those. And so it was a very minor course correction. It took about a minute for us to have that conversation instead of me going, oh, she doesn't get how I need to have it. No, no. It's just tell her, just tell her. And so she was like, oh, you need this? Okay. And so we worked it out, and now we have moved past that.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, those are definitely things that I've had to learn and navigate through. One of the things that still cracks me up is I know probably more organized people when they send that email, and I see their faces when somebody goes, "Oh, could you send that email again?" So it's at the top of my inbox, and I know because I've interacted with enough of them. I'm like, no, you can bloody search for it. There's a little thing at the top says search. Write in the keywords. Like, so if I looked at my inbox right now, oh man, I have a lot of emails in here.
Okay. Don't look at that. Don't look at that. Come on back.
1,545 unread emails. Now, that to many people would cause them to, like, go into some kind of a nervous breakdown. And I'm like, oh no. And I've actually challenged people in the company. I'm like, oh, I can find any email within seconds. I know how to do like a Boolean search in my inbox. Let's go. You can organize. I got people in our company who go, oh, my inbox is completely empty at the end of every day, and if everything's in folders, and I'm like, good for you. I will still beat you if we have a race to find the same email, because I'm so competitive. But people are like, I don't care. They're like, I don't want to compete with you. I don't care. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Don't try and manage me the way you like to manage. It's so fun. We're all wired different.
What a great example, though, of how we're all wired differently. I mean, just like look at email, which consumes us all, right? Hang tight. We'll be back with Jonathan after a word from our sponsors. Let's be honest, hiring the right people is hard. That's why I love Titus Talent Strategies. Their whole person hiring approach helps you find and keep A players who align with your values, and they back it with an industry leading guarantee. Best part? Titus Talent Strategies is included in the entrepreneurial toolkit for companies running on EOS. Check them out at titustalent.com/EOS. Do you love running on EOS? Try Streti, the EOS platform people love. Native integrations and extra features help you manage people, projects, process, and engagement. Connected to your favorite EOS tools and all in one place. You love EOS. It's time to love the platform you're running it on. Try Streti free at streti.com. That's STRETY.com. Streti, the EOS platform people love. And now back to my conversation with Jonathan. All right, I ask all my guests this question, Jonathan. If you were to get a tattoo to remind yourself of the thing that you need to work on for yourself, that is just like a constant reminder, what would your tattoo be and where would it be located?
Wow. Well, did you prep me with this? I would love to have thought that, oh my gosh, put me on the spot. Um, right now, I'm just thinking something to do with humility, just to keep in check, like humility and recognizing the beauty in other people and the difference. Like have enough humility, and I'll use ChatGPT. Hey, can you create me a great tattoo that speaks something of humility and recognizing the beauty in everybody else, and everyone's wired different, and everyone's got different calling in life than you. It's all the same. Like something about that, so I just pause and recognize other people have a different journey, and the beauty of recognizing something about that. I think would be, oh, I don't have any tattoos. I have
Yeah,
a
me either.
rebel son. He's 17. He's not even old enough to have tattoos, but he has tattoos. He does them kind of little backdoor tattoos with friends. But he's like, I'm gonna get another one here and get another one here, Dad. And I'm like, oh, geez. But yeah, I think I would probably, I don't know, somewhere just keep reminder, maybe on my forearm or wrist or something like that. You see
Yeah.
it often. Yeah, that's a good question. I wish I'd prepared that one. I'll probably come back. I'll be like, can I come back on your podcast and tell you what I revised my idea?
See, if I told you in advance, you would have used ChatGPT and I would have gotten this kind of not human answer. So
I am a
this is why,
massive ChatGPTer, like hugely, and it causes conflict because I encourage my kids to use it, and they're all in school. And I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely, you should use it because I'm telling everyone in my company they have to use it. I'm like, I want you to gain back 20% efficiencies this year by using AI and automation to free up time so you can be radically connected, relational human beings with one another and with our clients. Go and spend a day a week being relatable and relational. And so I want to encourage my kids to. My wife thinks it's a
yeah.
terrible idea. Don't do that. They need to learn. And I'm like, eh.
Yeah, the genie's out of the bottle, I'm afraid. And guilty as charged on Chat and Claude and all the other fun little toys that we have now. So, anyway, thanks so much for your time today, Jonathan. It was really great uh, chatting with you. And I know that we're going to be spending some more time together in October, which I'm excited about. I'd love for you to talk for 1 second about your charity and your charitable contributions, what your 10-year target is, if you could, just as we're wrapping up. I'd love to hear about it.
When we started the company, I sat with my business partner and integrator, and we sort of said, well, why do we want this company to exist? Like, we started just talking and dreaming it up. And I said, generosity and making an impact. Remember that significance thing? I want my life to matter. We don't get to take any of this stuff with us. And so I'm like, hey, let's make sure we're generous off every dollar we make, even from our first dollar. I don't want to, like, one day when I'm loaded, I'll be generous. I'm like, I don't actually buy that at all. I'm like, it's a principle of your character. So we said every dollar we make, we're going to carve out and make an impact in the communities where we live and where our people live. And so that's our core, our 10-year core target. It's this decade. So by 2030, we want to have given $30 million to transform communities for the greater good. So going to share our profits with the world around us. So we're, as of the first quarter of this year, we were about 67% of the way there to our target, which is great. So we're ahead of plan.
Amazing.
And one of the things we do is giving to the things our team members care about in their community. So we really encourage them, get involved in after school programs, kids sports, whatever. Like, love and serve your community. And we want to resource and support those things that you're involved with physically. We have no problem finding places to give money to. So just let everyone know, if you're looking to give money away, no, we're not looking to give money away. We have no problem giving it away. So that's what we give to. And then another thing, anything I've experienced and get excited by, I want everybody to experience it. So I don't know, 6-7 years ago, I took my family down. I got invited down to Mexico to a place called Ensenada on the Baja Peninsula, just south of San Diego. And we got to go and build some homes with an organization called Homes of Hope. And it was beautiful, amazing experience. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want everyone in my company to experience this. So the next year I took the whole company down to Mexico and we built homes together, and it was life-changing. Not a dry eye. It's just amazing to see somebody's life jump forward 10 years economically and giving a home to a family. So then I thought, I want our clients to do this. And then I had a really, really rude enterprise, massive client that spends millions of dollars with us. And they said, hey, I want Super Bowl tickets. Can you hook me up? And I got offended. I was annoyed. I'm like, why do you want? I'm not giving you Super Bowl tickets. I don't think our values are aligned here. But I'm reminded, okay, they spend lots of money with us. But I'm like, you know what? Rather than Super Bowl tickets, I'll take you and your son down to Mexico on an all expenses paid trip. And one of our VPs is like, Jonathan, you mean a home build, don't you? And I'm like, yep. We're going to make him go and build a house with us. He declined, but that was the birth of, I'm like, we should just start taking our clients. Once or twice a year, we take a team down there. We have one that's just for people who run on EOS, so EOS implementers and their clients, which is great. It's just exposing everyone to kind of why, the big why behind. I think it's one of the wonderful gifts of being entrepreneurs and business owners in America is that we can make an impact. So it's not for hoarding it together for ourselves, but we can actually share it with those who need and haven't had the same journey as us. So that's all.
Yeah, it's an impactful trip. I went on one a couple years ago, which was amazing, absolutely life-changing. And I'll be going again in October. So
who are you bringing?
Are you going to be on the painting crew with me again, or?
No, I'll be on the crew that just walks around and supervises like a boss, like a boss. Just kidding. Are you bringing somebody? Are you bringing one of your clients?
Yeah, I'm bringing my assistant, Jackie.
Oh, if you're not bringing a client with you?
Oh gosh, I mean, can I?
I mean, I'm not in charge of those kind of things, but you should. I'm going to make sure you get an invite that you can send out to all of your clients. We'll cover it. They just got to get to San Diego. Invite them.
Okay.
That's the point.
All right. Well, I mean, we can always cut this out if you think about it later.
Nope.
But that's an amazing, generous thing.
For me, that's the point, that you get to come and bring some folk too. So I'll make sure we figure that out.
All right.
Amy will be on it. I'll get her on it right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Well, thanks so much again for your time and for your stories. Always so fun to be with you. You're just such a great speaker and a delight to talk to. So thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. It's great being here.
So thanks to Jonathan for sharing his story about living in service of others. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share with friends who need to hear this. Thanks for listening to Bad Boss Confessional. We'll see you next week.